Hello everyone. This is a video that I'm making for Summoner's War, and for people who cannot clear B6s and B7s of daily dungeons and giants and dragons. Mainly because when you're first starting and you basically understood the game, what you actually have to do as you progress, you have to get the high essences and 6-star runes, and in order for you to do that, you have to know the combination of each monsters, and I think most users don't really know that as well. So I'm just gonna translate this one post that a guy from Korea, Korean forum, posted, and I think it's really helpful for beginners to be able to basically clear all those dungeons that are B6, B7s of giants and daily dungeons. And yeah, and I hope this really helps a lot of people who are starting off and who just got out of that newbie zone. And yeah, and let's begin. So it is a post that is posted in one of the Korean forums, and as you can see, this guy named Rose actually wrote it, and I thought it was really helpful, and I felt really bad at the fact that people who are speaking English in global servers and other servers actually don't have the access to it because they don't speak Korean. So he recommends that you build 6 of those monsters when you're first starting. One of them is Light Yagami. You can get that from the secret dungeons. Konamiya, I think there is a secret dungeon, I'm not really sure, but it is a natural 2-star, so a lot of people can just get it by pulling a lot of what's this called? Just pulling a lot of scrolls, normal scrolls. What is it called? Yeah, unknown scrolls. You can typically get it. Also, the natural 2-star Win Pixie, you can also pull her from the unknown scrolls as well. Dark Salamander, you can get him from the. You can get this one from secret dungeons as well, on dark secret dungeons on Monday. And Griffin. Griffin is one of the typical 3 stars. You can just simply get it by pulling a lot of crystal summons or whatever. A lot of people have it, and it is not really difficult to get, and it is not difficult to skill up for him. But don't use any of the devil monsters. Actually, don't use devil monsters for any of the monsters that I'm showing you here. And also the Megan, which is the wind water mystic witch, and some people just don't get Megan, pull Megan. My roommate was level 39 until he left to Korea, and he didn't pull any Megan for some crazy reasons, but typically she's very gettable monster, and everyone gets her once sometime as they level up. So he actually explains that you actually have to be not beginner, so you have to be able to go through dungeons and without troubles, level up actual monsters, and you can actually clear the 4th floor of each weekly dungeons, because you have to be able to get at least the medium I don't even know what it's called, but medium essences, and you have to get Light Yagami. That's what he's saying here. The thing about Light Yagami is because he has a lot of things that are beneficial for a lot of people. Actually, let me show you my Bella. which is light Yagami, and see why he might be good. As you can see, I don't have her rune because I have substituted her with my Amen, who is 5-star maxed out with 100% crit rate. He's a healer, but I don't recommend him for a lot of people. A lot of other YouTube people who are doing like streaming whatever of Summoner's Sword doesn't really recommend him too, because it's difficult for a lot of the beginners to first of all get Ammon and rune him for 100% or close to 100% crit rate while maintaining high HP, which is where the essence of having Ammon comes from. So a lot of people don't recommend him. I used him because I was a pay to play player, and I got a lot of health runes. As you can see, like I got 6-star crit rate of number 4 rune. So that's why I used Ammon, but I don't recommend him for beginners, people who are just starting. I don't really recommend him. So Bella is a very gettable monster. You can just get him from the secret dungeons that opens up on every Sunday, light secret dungeons, and whenever someone from the chat actually says, oh, someone opened up light Inugami dungeon, just pretend like, hey, yo, just add me so I can get into your dungeon, so you get a summoning piece, and if you get lucky you'll be able to get him, her. And her first skill is Scratch, and it says is attacks with giant claws to decrease enemy's defense for 2 turns. Decrease the enemy's defense for 2 turns. That means 100% if she has a lot of accuracy and the opponent doesn't have a lot of resistance, so that's good. The second skill she has is as valuable as the first skill. First skill is very valuable because of the fact that it has defense decrease. So, but the second skill is Seize, and it attacks the enemy and removes all beneficial attacks on the target. So the reason why this is crucial is because a lot of B6, B7s bosses have like crystals that gives them buffs, and this skill can basically debuff all of that and basically make him useless, make the crystals useless for like another turn or so. This is the key like essence skill of Bella, and this is Mobilize, and it fills the attack bar of allies by 30% and recovers their HP by 30%. And if you max out the skill, recovery percentage goes up by 20% as well. This is why people use Bella along with other skills, but like this is the key reason why people use Bella, because Bella can be a great healer when the skill is maxed out. And yeah, that's why a lot of people, the person who wrote this article, tip, whatever, recommends Bella for the key healer for this position, for this particular post. And this is basically what he recommends. I'm gonna go over each one of them. And for this is what he recommends for the party of like 7 B7s of all the daily slash magic. I think it is called magic. Not too sure, but the magic dungeons of B7s of magic and daily dungeons. And For healers, as you can see, you're using Bella on every single dungeons, and you can also use Bella for both Giants B6/B7 and Dragons B7 as well. And you're also using Konamiya for most of the dungeons because she can basically recover all the she removes all the harmful effects of all the allies. So let's say let's say in the fire dungeons, because a lot of crystals on the way to the bosses basically lowers your defense, and basically Konami cannot do that, so that's why she's very valuable. And for most dungeons, you are also using Wind Pixie and Wind Griffin, and this is because you are actually, let me go to my Wind Pixies and Wind Griffins to explain why. Wind Griffin, people use Wind Griffin not because of her first skill, but because of her second skill and the third skill. As you can see, my Wind Griffin is not maxed out. I have to max her out for the second skill's cooldown reduction. But second skill is really valuable. Some people don't recognize that, but second skill basically lets your entire party survive through the bosses, through the crystals, because it weakens attack power and the defense for 2 turns. So it basically halves the damage that's coming in. That's how I feel. And the third skill is very important in arena and also in attacking more against the bosses, especially in the Giants B7, because Giants B7, the Giants are really slow, and if you have this along with the attack speed debuff that Wind Pixie has, then you'll be able to basically clear the Giants B7s, B6s without that much of the problem. And increases attack bars by 30%, this is great, and increases attack speed by 2 tons. Just valuable monster. You can use him also in arena because of the skill, and if you look at my stats, my Bernard is not that strong, not the best Bernard that you would ever see, but I have high accuracy, so that my second skill when on bosses would keep the boss's damage output down. And also I have some speed built in with him slash her, I don't really know, but like him, because I use him in arena to get my monsters the first turn. So Bill Bernard I can't put more emphasis on Bernard anymore because he's just that great. And also Shannon is the Wind Pixie. You get it, you probably like dispose a lot of Shannon for your XP and like combine them, but like save the next one because she's very valuable. You won't understand it. Honestly, I didn't understand the value of her until I use her. So let's take a look at her skills and what makes her valuable. So her first skill is actually attacks an enemy with an energy ball, and attack has 50% chance of increase the enemy's chance of landing a glancing hit for 2 turns, and this goes up to 75% when you max out the skill. And when your opponent is glancing hitting, it lowers your damage output. I think it lowers the damage output, doesn't crit as much, and that along with Bernard's second skill lowering the attack damage basically disables the bosses, and this is why Shannon and Bernard used together are so recommended by the Korean forum. And the second skill is also valuable especially for Giants B6, B7, because if you take a look at it, it says attacks all enemies, decreasing their attack speed for 2 turns with 80% chance on target, which goes up to 100% when you max the skill out. And basically you're lowering the attack speed by 30%, and if you buff the attack speed of your team by 30% with Bernard, I think it is 30% that one for buffs and debuffs, but like that's basically allows you to attack like twice as much and twice as more often than the bosses would, like without those debuffs and buffs. So like that's why you use Shannon and Bernard as a package typically to kill those bosses and to lower the speed of all the crystals that are on the way to the bosses and stuff. And she's actually most valuable because of her 3rd skill, because her 3rd skill increases the attack power and defense of all allies for 3 turns. And 3 turns is a long time, and typically you can deal a lot of damage to the bosses and to crystals, and like survive from a lot of like AoE skills from the crystals because of the skill. So you are basically buffed for both attack and defense. So basically you'll be able to survive most of the attacks. You'll be able to deal much more damage because you have the attack power increase. So that's why you use Shannon and Bernard. And the last monster that he recommends is, hold on, I have him in storage. Is the Dark Salamander, and the reason why people use him is because of this passive. So once he's awakened, I don't have him awakened because I don't really use him, but it basically says gains immunity against freeze and stun effects, and your attacks deal additional damage proportionate to the target's max HP. So even though this monster is too natural to start, because of the fact that it deals damage based on the target's max HP, this guy becomes so valuable that he alone can deal a lot of damage to the bosses without a designated dealer, without having a lot of damage runes. Along with the fact that his 1st skill attacks enemy with an enemy actually. Oh yeah, this one. Okay. Along with the fact that his 2nd skill attacks the enemy, a Dark Storm, attacks the enemy with a Sandstorm and inflicts continuous damage for 3 turns. So that would, because continuous damage does basically deal 5% of the max HP of the enemy without any like defense consideration. This deals 15% of the this deals for 15% of the boss's damage, along with your passive that deals enemy's max HP proportionate damage, which is why he alone can be a very valuable dealer. That's why he in this post recommends him for basically everything if you're beginning. So let me go over each of the dungeons. This video is getting longer than I thought, but basically the 7th floor of the magic hold on, Hall of Magic. So B7 of the Hall of Magic, you bring Bella because she can heal, first of all, and the fact that the boss's right crystal actually has defense buff, and you can basically debuff it with Bella. So your dealers would deal a lot more damage with that. And he would basically, Konamiya would basically keep you alive for on the way. And I explained a lot about Shannon and Bernard package, and they will basically buff our team, debuff the enemy team for both attack speed and attack damage, and also the defense. So you'll feel it once you start using those two. So build those four. Those are the key. Those four monsters. I can't put more emphasis on it. And Dark Salamander will basically deal most of the damage with the enemy's max HP damage along with the continuous damage. And Water Dungeon, the difficulty with Water Dungeon, like people have difficult time like clearing the Water Dungeon because of the fact that it has 500% increased damage. Well, but the thing is, we have Dark Salamander that deals more damage if the water, if the enemy has more HP. So that actually he actually solves a problem alone by a lot. And the 7th floor of the Fire Dungeon, Hall of Fire, you need Konamiya. Konamiya plays the biggest role here because you have to be able to remove what's this called? The bombs that the crystals are putting on to your monsters, and those bombs will one-shot every single monsters that has it at the end of the turn that it expires. So Konamiya should be able to basically remove all the bombs, ideally. Sometimes it doesn't happen, so I honestly think a Hall of Fire is the most difficult because Konamiya sometimes like basically removes the attack debuff of the right crystal first, and then doesn't really have that removal of harmful effects available when it comes to the bomb, and like sometimes like kills all my monsters, and like, oh shit, what did you do, Konami? But anyways, and you don't really need Wind Pixie and Bernard here because you're not going to be able to put down debuffs anyways because of the element difference. It's much more harder, and that's why he recommends additional dealer. So like you would actually burn him down before he puts like the 3rd bomb on you. So like it would increase the chance of your Konamiya doing stupid shit. The Wind Dungeon, Hall Wind, which opens on Thursday, I think. You don't really need Konamiya, as you can see, but he recommends that you use what's this called? The werewolf, fire werewolf, because he has I think he has like healing, like disabling healing debuff thing. I don't really know what it was called, but like, yeah, that debuff. I'm sorry, I play in Korean usually, so that's why I don't really know those terms in English. But anyways, he puts that in there, and like what basically happens is like the boss really the reason why the Hall Wind is difficult is because the boss heals. Boss is one of the crystal heals him, so like you have to like kill him within that turn. But like if you have, I think his name is Wayne, and like basically doesn't allow him to heal when you're supposed to, then like you'll be fine. You can replace that with Harpew, like I think either wind or fire Harpew. Let me actually check. Let's actually check here. Taking forever to load. Yeah, see, you can actually replace him with Fire Harpu Colleen, because of her second skill actually prevents the enemy from recovering their HP for 2 turns, and this probably maxed out. If it is maxed out, then she'll be able to use it more often. And I actually recommend Colleen more so than the Wayne, because I think, oh no, his name is Garrosh, but I think it's because sometimes the boss attacks in between Garrosh's attack and the crystal's heal, so then the HP recovery like debuff, which is only on for 1 turn, will go away, and then actually heal the boss, and like you'll be in big trouble sometimes. So I recommend Colleen more just for this dungeon, but like if you have Wayne, because Garrosh, because it's his basic attack that's actually preventing the HP recovery, then use Garrosh for the Wind dungeon. And Light dungeon and Dark dungeon, you don't really have much to worry about. Light dungeon is usually a little more difficult to get to the boss because of the crystals that deals a lot of damage with ignoring defense. So build a lot of HP, then you'll be fine. Bella would basically undo all the defense buffs that's on the boss, and Bernard would debuff the defense of the light at the boss, so you'll be able to get it really easily. The dark dungeon, Konamiya would basically undo all the DOS that are on you, and yeah, and there's no if you have Konamiya in the deck, then you should be fine for the dark dungeons. And I think that's it for the weekday dungeons, like daily dungeons, a B7 of the daily dungeons. And for giants, because I think dragons B6 B7 is much harder than giants B6 B7. I can auto B6 as a dragon, and I'm like level 40 with like a lot of like 5 stars, like natural 5 stars. So, but like I still can't auto dragons B7, so I would skip dragons B7. But dragons B6, giants B6, I think is really essential for a lot of people, because this is like the first window for a lot of the people who are like beginners to get 6-star runes, because starting the B6 you get 6-star runes, and like 6-star runes are the best runes, and you really need them in order for you to improve your deck. The only difference you have, if you have 6-star maxed out like monster between like monsters, then like only difference you have again between your monster, your 6-star maxed out monster, and like top ranker 6-star maxed out monsters is the fact that they have better runes. So B6, clearing B6 should be one of your top priorities, as it is for your daily dungeons B7, B6 clearance. And B6, Giants Kid B6, I think you can auto it with a lot of HPs, because of the fact that it is light dungeon. It is a light dungeon, and a lot of the crystals ignore defense damage. So like you need just shit ton of HPs and a sustaining healer like Almond. B7 might be a little more easier for some people, although it is a later version, because the fact that if you have followed the previous advices, you would have Konamiya on your deck, and she would basically be able to clear all the dots that the crystals put in, and so on. And I honestly think if you can auto all the B7s, you should be able to auto the B7. Not auto, maybe like play it like a little bit, but like you should be able to clear B7s of the Giants B7 of the Giants keep. So you should be able to get like 6-star runes, 5-star runes that are like really good with really good option that are like really good option. So like I recommend that you build whatever that monsters that I mentioned, and if you want to clear B6, I recommend you building Almond. If you can ruin him with all crits. Like I think if you build him Blade, you'll still be able to sustainably heal. Or even if you don't have that much crit percent, like on your fourth slot run. So yeah, and if you're one of the fortunate ones who actually have a cases who has her third skill that actually can like shield your allies, which will prevent a lot of the ignored defense like damage from coming in, then great. You would be able to clear Giants B6, B7 like without that much of a problem. But if you actually she was a Hall of Heroes monsters like long time ago, before I even played. But like if you played back then, you wouldn't really need to watch this to like clear B7s of like each dungeon. So like I'm not gonna mention it, but like if you have him, then your life will be much easier because she has dot on her first skill, which goes up to like 75% once it's maxed out, and she also has heals. And this the reason why I didn't really need to build Dark Salamander was just because of the fact that I had cases, because I could put DOS in, I could just like make my team survive for long enough time for her to deal like enough put enough DOS on the giants and dragons and all those other bosses and whatnot. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are. This is my first video. I know I was a little sloppy here and there, but like I hope this is really helpful for a lot of people who are starting and who wants to get to like know how all those dungeons and like how to clear all those dungeons so they can get those high essences, 6-star runes, so they can become like they can be better at this game. I'm gonna make my next video on like a set of tips that I have for like beginners to like intermediate players, and people who might like not realize some of the things because they're just starting, like tips. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.